Welcome to How Hard, the channel where we explore this weird and wonderful world and dive headfirst with a sense of humility, ignorance, and a dash of humour to truly ask the question, how hard could it be? In this video, we're going to explore a quick intro into OBS, the open broadcasting software. It is important to note that I created a video for this actually a year ago, but who has time for 34 minutes and that deep of a dive? That video was created at the start of COVID in Australia when we started that really long period of lockdowns. And it goes in a lot more detail if you wanted to go and have a look there. But here we're just going to try and do a very quick 5-minute and keep it less and a nice introduction for you to jump in. So let's dive down into this screen below and have a look at OBS. Now you'll actually notice that we've already started a bit of a time loop into the actual video because I'm actually recording this very video right here using OBS. So what I'm actually going to do is a useful model called studio mode. So down in the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to turn it into studio mode, where on the right it's going to show me the actual video that's recording, and on the left I can actually go to different videos. So this was that starting video that you actually saw, and if I actually go and skip ahead to give you that preview into the future, you'll actually see the ending video, and this is all happening on the left. So if you're doing a live stream, which is very, very easy to do, rather than start recording, you can actually start streaming. It's very, very easy to connect up, but we're not going to go into that level of detail in here. What I really just want to show you is how you can turn a very simple video into something a bit more engaging for your students. One of the first concepts to get used to is what we call scenes and sources. So if I go over here and I start looking at scenes, I'm going to create a brand new scene and it's going to ask me what to call it. And this is showing off. You know what? I just want to, help you understand and what's better showing off in there. At any time, I can actually transition to that screen and that live video will update. I don't want to do that right now because it probably just confuses while you're watching, but what you'll actually see is by creating this video, it has just created a new scene that I can go to at any time. So I can go back to the scene I was on, I can change over the logo, and if I hit the transition button, it'll automatically go there. It is important to note that this is only because I'm in studio mode. If I wasn't in studio mode, I'll just see that single screen in the middle, and anytime I change my scenes, it will change the actual source of the recording or the streaming you're doing. So just keep that in mind while you're doing it. When we've got a recording going, I can actually change it around, move the different scenes, and just reorder it in the way I want. But that really might not be useful if I've just got a blank screen. So what we're going to do is really go into and start adding sources to those screens. If you look in and go into the screen that I'm currently in, you can actually see that I've got 5 different sources that are bringing this all together for you. So what we're going to do is add a source. When we click on that button, we can actually see we've got a whole bunch of options here, and it's really, really useful to understand what each one of those can do. So audio input and audio output, these are actually different things. So if I want to record sound that's my computer is making to me, well then I need the audio output function because it's coming from the computer to me. Whereas an audio input is this mic that I've got hidden here, or this mic that I've got on my webcam or any other audio source. So that's the difference between the input-output captures. We've then got browser, so this is just a very quick way of bringing in a web browser. If I want to search the internet, we can bring in color sources. I can bring in the entire screen, which is actually what I'm doing here. So this is actually, you can see my Windows time as well as the time that I'm recording this video. We go down, we can see game captures, we can see images. You'll use that one a lot. You can also image slideshow, so if you want to bring in a whole bunch of images and just have a slideshow in the background while you're doing something. You can bring in media sources like videos. You can even bring in other scenes that you've actually already created, and that's a great way of tidying up information together and tying it all together in a group or a bundle, but then actually bringing it together into one view. So very, very useful, but we're not going to go into that level of detail. We can bring in VLC, once more a video source. We can bring in the video capture, so we can actually see that up on this right hand corner here. That is my video capture that I'm bringing in, and we can also bring in window captures. So for instance, I've got Firefox open, or I've got Teams or File Explorer, rather than bringing in my entire display capture, I can just bring in a window. Now I can't do that with OBS because it can't bring itself in, it just doesn't like that, so I had to do the display capture for you, but a window capture will work for pretty much any other software. So what we're first going to do is I'm actually going to use my video. We want to be able to see the teacher as you're presenting out to the world. So because I've actually already got that video, the video capture, I can come over to here and I can right click and copy it. But if you don't already have that video, when you bring up the video capture device, it'll actually ask you to name it. My recommendation is always name the video. If you don't, what you're going to face is this really weird, what is that, what am I talking about, or is, if you use the generic naming, you're just going to really kind of get stuck when you're trying to actually sort and organize everything. So giving cameras a great name, camera 1, or whatever you want to be doing it, is quite useful. But you'll actually notice I can actually already bring in the camera I already have. So I can actually come into add existing video capture device, and once more I didn't name it properly. But then we can automatically make that source video, click OK, and it will actually bring this up. Now you notice that because my video is actually a 4K webcam, it's actually making it way too big. Now yes, you can resize and you can move it all around, but there's actually a very, very quick tip you can do here. If you right click on it and you move to where is the button? Right click, I saw it just before. Transform. There's a button called Transform, and you can actually do Fit to Screen, and it actually just automatically fits it to the screen. Now I can still resize it and scale it in whatever order I want. So if I wanted to present to a classroom, I can put this down the bottom here, and then I can bring in something like a worksheet. So let's go into here, and I'm actually going to first off do a window capture. So if I go into here, and I'm actually going to bring in Firefox. So when we open it up, it's actually going to open up, and it's first off brought in my script, which now you see that I had part of it scripted. But now I can actually also bring in Firefox. Very, very simple, very, very quick. We click OK. Now it's got that in there. I can move these elements about. Now you notice that the element of the screen actually goes over top of my video capture. If I didn't want that to happen, what I can do is just simply drag the source underneath, and there you go. It's there, quite easy to move around. I can display it in any way I want. Now if I actually move over to that browser, I can actually interact with it, and whilst I'm talking about it, just like I'm presenting to you right now the OBS software, I can also present to you anything else. So for instance, if I looked up a grade 1 math sheet, grab the images, and we grab an example. Now I actually prepared this a bit earlier, so if I go back into OBS, we're going to delete Firefox because I don't need that scene. And this is all prep work you want to try and do beforehand, but if I actually go in and import the image, this can actually be existing images I already have, but you know what, it's not one that I want to bring in. Math sheet, click OK, and we're going to browse to find that math sheet, something I prepared earlier. So this is really, really useful. I can actually have that math sheet open, presenting it to them. I can have my video up the top. I know that I need to point over left and right if I'm talking about something. So if I wanted to make myself a lot bigger, easier to see, and then I can do some really cool things like adding text. So learning outcome. And I can actually control and put whatever fonts I want. So any fonts that I have configured on my computer. So for instance, we use Poppins a lot. Okay, Poppins regular, and we're going to put in some text to say learning outcomes from this video. You should be able to Something nice and simple, and you'll notice that the text once more just comes up. So I could easily transform and do the fit to screen. There is a shortcut key for that. Or I can actually just drag and drop. So I want to do the dragging, making it the size I want it to be, and I can put that in. So this is very, very useful because now that I've got that text, I can add other text in underneath it. And you can start to see the power that we have here. You can import your PowerPoint presentation. You can start moving and playing so that it's not just a video of you talking to the camera. You can add elements. So all around me, so right below me, you can see that I've got my logo in there. Onto the right, we've got the display capture. So that's really quite useful to be able to go through and have that all shown. And I don't need to do any post-production. I don't need to edit this video. Once I hit cancel, I'm done. It's saved. I can just upload it to the source for my viewers, you. One last thing, and I was trying to do this in 5 minutes, but it looks like it's down to already 11, is actually show you one other thing to make life a lot easier when doing this. Do this all up front, make sure it's all ready, import all the sources, get your scenes ready, put all the sources into those scenes. If you were doing something like this, one of the things I find quite useful, if you right click, you can duplicate as well. So if you've got all the sources and everything kind of set up and you're just changing the sheets each time, absolutely use the duplicate function. Get in there, do all of that kind of things. There is some other things that you can actually create scene selections. So for instance, if you teach multiple classes and you want to have a different look and feel for each one, you can create a new scene collection for every time you're doing that. And at the moment I'm just using this one scene, but after this video, because I haven't used this computer to shoot to shoot videos like this before, I'll change it to be how hard, and then I'll actually have one for my work for CCL, and then I can change between those different with a click of a button. It'll just show the other options underneath there, and I can just start using it. So getting in there, setting it all up is, once you've done it once, you're just doing minor changes to it afterwards. But the big thing that's very, very useful, if you go into settings and you go to hotkeys, you have options in here to the nth degree. And you can see that I've actually just very simply created 2 starting ones. In here, I can click in here and push any button. And anytime I push that button, whether I'm in OBS or in another browser or anything, it will do that action, which is start recording. If I push Alt in any screen, any browser, when OBS is open, it will stop the recording. Now it's important to note that sometimes this can be very, very painful. So if you set that to the spacebar, then you go into a document and you haven't you've forgotten that you've got OBS open, you're going to start and stop recordings till the cows come home. So make sure you set it to buttons that you don't really touch too much. So you could set it to number buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could set it to Control Alt. You can set it to a whole bunch of different buttons in there. You can also buy buy an app. I think there is a free app as well on your phone that gives you the ability to control them using some buttons, and they're called, I use a Stream Deck, but there are other things. But if you scroll down in here, you can actually also set different things. So you can see that my scene is called full video, and that scene is there, logo video. I can do that switch to scene anytime I push that button. So if I have this as 1, have this as 2, have this as 3, and I click apply, anytime I touch 1, 2, or 3 whilst OBS is open, it will change the scene. Very, very useful. It means that I actually don't need to be looking at OBS in order to do something. So when I finish this video, I'm going to endeavor to look really, really hard at the camera, make sure my hand's in the right spot, and I'll push the Alt button, and Alt stops the recording. Super, super useful, helps you get into the flow of the video and not worry about having to look around the different screens and find everything. The only other thing that you'd need to know is how to find the recordings once you're done. So obviously we do the recording, then it stores the video somewhere in your system. Very easy to do. Click on the file at the top and click Show Recordings. That will open up File Explorer right where your videos are. Super quick, super easy. The only other thing that I usually try and put out there is actually on your output. So in your output, you actually have the option of choosing what video format you want to output by. By default, it's MKV, and Windows usually operates pretty well with that, but I find that MP4 is more ubiquitous across all systems. It can open up in browser, it can open up anywhere. So usually changing it to MP4 is quite a good thing. Now I know I've gone a lot over what I was intending to do, but there is a lot more information in my video from a year ago. So if you have questions or if you'd like to learn more, head over to that video and make sure you leave some comments and ask further questions. I'm always looking forward to providing more information, and from here we'll actually try and record some videos on some more weird and wonderful things that aren't within my normal wheelhouse. Hope this has helped. If there's any questions, hit me down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. This is me getting ready to end the video and me saying goodbye. Thanks.